Hello, and welcome to another episode of Code Your English, where we help transform your life through language. I'm really happy to have you here today. Thank you for spending your time with me. This podcast is a calm and safe place where you can relax, listen carefully, and improve your English step by step. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to be perfect. Just listen, breathe, and enjoy learning in a simple and natural way. Today, we are going to talk about a very important topic. The topic is called Know Your Hidden Enemies. When you hear the word enemy, you may think about a person who wants to hurt you. But today, we are not talking about people. We are talking about something much closer to us. We are talking about things inside us. These are enemies we often do not see, and that is why they are called hidden enemies. So, what does hidden enemies really mean? Hidden enemies are negative habits, thoughts, and behaviors that slowly stop us from growing. They live inside our daily life. They live in our mind and in our actions. Many times, we do not notice them. We think everything is normal. But these enemies quietly control our choices. They stop us from moving forward, and they make learning harder than it needs to be. These hidden enemies are not bad people. They are not outside in the world. They are things like fear, laziness, negative thinking, and bad habits. For example, when you want to speak English but you stay silent, because you are afraid of making mistakes. That fear is a hidden enemy. When you say, "I am not good at English," that thought becomes a hidden enemy. When you delay practice and say, "I will start tomorrow," that habit becomes a hidden enemy. They do not shout at us. They speak softly, but their effect is strong. Knowing your hidden enemies can change your life in a positive way. When you can see them clearly, they lose their power. You begin to understand why you feel stuck sometimes. You start to understand why progress feels slow. This knowledge helps you become more confident, more aware, and more patient with yourself. It also helps you learn English better, because learning a language is not only about words and grammar. It is also about mindset, courage, and daily habits. As you listen to this episode on Code Your English, I invite you to listen slowly. Do not rush. Try to understand the ideas, not every single word. If something feels familiar, that is okay. If something makes you think, that is even better. This podcast is not here to judge you. It is here to guide you, support you, and help you grow, both in English and in life. So take a deep breath, stay open, and let's begin this journey together. What are hidden enemies? Now let us understand clearly what hidden enemies really are. This idea is very important, because when we understand the meaning, we can start to notice them in our own life. A hidden enemy is not something outside you. It is not a person, and it is not a situation. A hidden enemy is an inner problem. It is a habit, a thought, or a behavior that quietly works against you. You cannot see it easily, and many times you do not even realize it is there. But slowly, it affects your decisions, your confidence, and your progress. Let us compare hidden enemies with visible enemies. A visible enemy is easy to notice. For example, if someone speaks badly to you, you know this person is hurting you. If a situation is difficult, you can clearly see the problem. Visible enemies are outside of you, and you can prepare yourself to face them. You can talk, you can react, or you can walk away. But hidden enemies are different. They live inside your mind. They do not come from other people. They come from your own thoughts and habits, so they are much harder to recognize. This is why hidden enemies are more dangerous than visible ones. When you know who your enemy is, you can protect yourself. But when the enemy is hidden, you think everything is fine. You think the problem is the world, or bad luck, or other people. In reality, the problem is often a small voice inside your head. This voice tells you to stop, to wait, or to give up. Because this voice feels like your own thought, you believe it without question. Slowly, it becomes normal, and that is how it gains power. Hidden enemies control our actions quietly. They do not push us strongly. They whisper. For example, imagine you want to practice English speaking today. A visible problem may be that you are busy, but a hidden enemy may say, "You are tired today. You can practice tomorrow." Tomorrow comes, and the same voice speaks again. After many days, no practice happens. Nothing looks wrong, but progress stops. The hidden enemy did not force you. It simply guided your choice again and again. Let us look at some easy real-life examples. Think about fear. Fear is a very common hidden enemy. You may fear making mistakes in English. Because of this fear, you stay silent in conversations. People around you may think you are quiet, but inside, you want to speak. Another example is negative thinking. When you say to yourself, "I am too old to learn English," or "Others are better than me," these thoughts slowly destroy your motivation. No one else is saying these words to you. You are saying them to yourself. That is why they are hidden, and that is why they are powerful. Habits can also be hidden enemies. Spending too much time on your phone, watching random videos, or delaying study time may feel harmless. You may say, "Just 5 more minutes." But 5 minutes becomes 30, and 30 becomes 1 hour. At the end of the day, you feel tired and disappointed. The habit did not attack you. It simply took your time quietly. This is how hidden enemies work in daily life. Now take a moment and think about yourself. Are there times when you want to grow, but something inside stops you? Do you delay important things even when you know they are good for you? Do you sometimes talk to yourself in a negative way? These are not questions to make you feel bad. They are gentle questions to help you become aware. Awareness is the first step to change. As you listen to Code Your English, remember this. Everyone has hidden enemies. You are not weak if you have them. You are human. The goal is not to fight yourself. The goal is to understand yourself. When you can name your hidden enemies, you can slowly reduce their power. And when their power becomes smaller, your confidence, your English, and your life can move forward with more peace and clarity. Hidden enemy number 1. Fear. Fear of failure, fear of speaking, fear of judgment. Now let us talk about the first and one of the strongest hidden enemies, fear. Fear is something we all feel. It is natural, and it is part of being human. Fear is not always bad. Sometimes, fear protects us from real danger. But very often, fear appears when there is no real danger at all. It lives in our mind, and it creates stories that stop us from moving forward. When fear becomes too strong, it quietly controls our actions and decisions. Fear is usually the fear of failure, the fear of speaking, or the fear of judgment. For English learners, fear often shows up when it is time to speak. You may understand English well. You may know many words, but when it is time to open your mouth, fear takes control. Your heart beats faster. Your mind becomes empty. You start to think about mistakes before you even speak. Because of this fear, many learners stay silent even when they want to talk. One very common fear is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners believe that making mistakes means they are bad at English. But this is not true. Mistakes are a normal part of learning. Every child makes mistakes when learning to speak. Every fluent speaker once made many errors, but fear tells us a different story. It says, if you make a mistake, people will think you are stupid. This thought is not real, but it feels real, and that feeling is strong enough to stop action. Another strong fear is the fear of being laughed at or judged by others. You may worry about your accent. You may worry about your grammar. You may worry about how you sound, so you choose silence, because silence feels safer. In daily life, this happens often. At work, in class, or even with friends, you may have an idea, but fear tells you to stay quiet. Over time, this fear becomes a habit. You stop trying, not because you cannot speak, but because you are afraid to try. Fear grows when we avoid action. Every time you avoid speaking, fear becomes stronger. Your mind learns that silence is safe, and speaking is dangerous. The next time, fear feels even bigger. This is how fear slowly takes control. It does not shout at you. It simply repeats the same message again and again, until you believe it. Many people think they are not confident, but in reality, they are just listening to fear too much. Let us look at a simple example. Imagine you want to order food in English. You know what to say, but fear tells you that you might say it wrong. So you choose not to speak. The moment passes, and nothing bad happens. Your brain learns avoiding is safe. Next time, fear appears faster. Slowly, fear becomes a wall between you and progress. The good news is that fear becomes smaller when you take action. You do not need big steps. Small steps are enough. You can start by speaking one sentence. You can practice alone. You can speak to yourself. You can repeat simple phrases every day. Each small action tells your brain that speaking is not dangerous. Over time, fear loses its power. Remember this important truth. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes after action. You do not wait to feel ready. You become ready by practicing. Fear may never disappear completely, but it does not need to control you. You can feel fear and still speak. You can make mistakes and still grow. As you continue listening to Code Your English, be kind to yourself. Fear does not mean you are weak. It means you care. Every time you choose to speak, even a little, you are winning against this hidden enemy. Step by step, your voice becomes stronger. Your English becomes clearer. And fear slowly moves out of the way. Hidden enemy number 2. Laziness and comfort zone. Now let us talk about another powerful hidden enemy. Laziness and the comfort zone. Many people think laziness means doing nothing at all, but in real life, laziness is often very quiet. It hides behind comfort. It tells us that we are fine, that we can start later, and that there is no hurry. This hidden enemy is dangerous because it feels safe and familiar. First, it is important to understand the difference between rest and laziness. Rest is healthy and necessary. Your body and mind need rest to recover. When you rest, you feel fresh and ready to continue. Laziness is different. Laziness is when you avoid action, even when you have energy and time. After laziness, you do not feel refreshed. You feel guilty, heavy, or disappointed. Knowing this difference helps you understand when you truly need rest and when comfort is just holding you back. Now let us understand What a comfort zone really is. A comfort zone is a mental space where everything feels easy and familiar. You do the same things every day. You think in the same way. You avoid challenges. Inside the comfort zone, there is little stress, but there is also little growth. Learning English often requires stepping outside this zone. Speaking, making mistakes, and trying new things feel uncomfortable, so the mind prefers to stay where it feels safe. The brain loves comfort because comfort saves energy. When you do familiar things, the brain does not need to work hard. It wants to protect you from stress and uncertainty. That is why your brain often says, "Not today," or "Tomorrow is better." This voice is not evil, it is natural. But when you listen to it too much, comfort becomes a prison. You feel safe, but you stop growing. Comfort slows down English learning in many ways. For example, you may understand English videos, but you avoid speaking. You may plan to practice every day, but you delay it again and again. You may say, "I am busy," but deep inside, you know you are choosing easy activities instead. Watching random videos or scrolling on your phone feels comfortable, while practicing English feels challenging. So comfort wins and progress stops. Let us look at a simple example. Imagine you want to practice English speaking for 10 minutes a day. In the morning, you feel motivated. But later, your comfort zone says, "You had a long day. Relax." You sit down, open your phone, and time passes quickly. At night, you feel tired and promise to start tomorrow. This happens not because you are lazy in life, but because comfort quietly guided your choice. The solution is not to force yourself too hard. Big pressure creates stress, and stress leads to giving up. The solution is small daily habits. Small actions feel less scary to the brain. You can start with 2 minutes of speaking. You can listen to one short podcast. You can learn one new word and use it in a sentence. These small steps slowly break laziness because they are easy to start and easy to continue. Motivation grows after action, not before it. You do not wait to feel motivated. You take a small step, and motivation follows. Each small win builds confidence. Each day you act, even a little, you weaken this hidden enemy. Remember, growth happens outside the comfort zone, but it does not need to be painful. Gentle effort, done daily, is stronger than strong effort, done only once. As you continue listening, remind yourself of this simple truth. Comfort feels good now, but progress feels good later. Choose one small action today. Step slightly outside your comfort zone. Over time, what feels uncomfortable today will become easy tomorrow, and your English will grow naturally and confidently. Hidden enemy number 3. Negative self-talk. Now let us talk about another very strong hidden enemy. Negative self-talk. This enemy is quiet, but very powerful. Negative self-talk means the way you speak to yourself inside your mind. It is the voice you hear when you make a mistake, when you feel nervous, or when something does not go well. This voice is not always kind. Many times, it is critical, harsh, and unfair. Because it sounds like your own voice, you believe it easily, even when it is not true. Negative self-talk often uses simple but harmful sentences. People say things like, "I am not good at English," "I always make mistakes," "Others are better than me," or "I will never speak fluently." These sentences may feel normal because you have repeated them many times. But every time you say them, you are teaching your brain to believe them. Over time, these thoughts become your reality. Not because they are true, but because you repeat them again and again. Words have strong power. The words you use inside your mind affect how you feel and how you act. When you speak to yourself in a negative way, your body feels heavy. Your energy becomes low. You feel less confident and more afraid to try. Then your actions change. You avoid speaking. You avoid practice. You stop taking chances. In this way, negative self-talk quietly controls your behavior and keeps you stuck. This hidden enemy has a big impact on English speaking. When you believe you are bad at English, you speak less. When you speak less, you get less practice. When you get less practice, improvement becomes slow. Then the negative voice becomes louder and says, "See, you are not improving." This creates a cycle. The problem is not your ability. The problem is the story you are telling yourself. The good news is that negative self-talk can be changed. You do not need to fight your thoughts. You need to replace them. The first step is awareness. When you notice a negative sentence in your mind, pause and listen to it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Most of the time, the answer is no. The thought is just fear or habit speaking, not reality. The second step is to change the sentence into a kinder and more helpful one. For example, instead of saying, "I am bad at English," you can say, "I am learning English step by step." Instead of saying, "I always make mistakes," you can say, "Mistakes help me learn." Instead of saying, "I am afraid to speak," you can say, "I am becoming more confident every day." These sentences may feel strange at first, but repetition makes them stronger. You can practice this every day. Say positive sentences aloud or in your mind. Simple sentences are enough. For example, "I can improve." "My English is getting better." "I am proud of my effort." Or, "It is okay to learn slowly." These words slowly change how you feel. When your feelings change, your actions also change. You speak more. You practice more. You become calmer. Remember this. You are always listening to someone. Make sure that voice is kind. Speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend. Encouragement is more powerful than criticism. When you change your inner language, your outer world also begins to change. Step by step, negative self-talk loses its power, and your confidence grows naturally. Hidden enemy number 4. Perfectionism. Now let us talk about another very common and very strong hidden enemy. Perfectionism. At first, perfectionism may look like something good. You may think it means high standards or serious learning. But in reality, perfectionism often stops progress instead of helping it. Perfectionism is the habit of waiting until everything feels perfect before you take action. And in language learning, this waiting can last forever. Perfectionism means wanting perfect grammar, a perfect accent, and perfect sentences before you speak. You may think, "I need to learn more words first," or "My pronunciation is not good enough," or "I will speak when I am ready." These thoughts feel responsible and careful, but they are actually delaying action. The truth is, in learning English, there is no perfect moment to start speaking. This hidden enemy delays speaking because it creates a false condition. It says, "First be perfect, then act." But perfection never comes. Language is not something you finish learning. Even native speakers make mistakes. When you wait for perfection, you stay silent. Silence feels safe, but it also keeps you stuck at the same level. The mindset, "I will speak when I am ready," sounds logical. But it is a trap. Readiness does not come before speaking. Readiness comes because of speaking. The more you speak, the more ready you become. When you wait, fear grows. You start to believe that speaking is something dangerous that needs special preparation. Over time, perfectionism turns into fear and stress. Perfectionism increases stress because it puts pressure on every sentence. You worry about every word. You think too much before speaking. This makes communication slow and uncomfortable. Instead of enjoying conversation, you feel tense. This tension blocks natural learning. Language needs movement, not control. There is an important difference between progress and perfection. Progress means getting a little better over time. Perfection means never being satisfied. Progress allows mistakes. Perfection rejects them. When you focus on progress, you feel motivated. When you focus on perfection, you feel frustrated. The best way to break perfectionism is to practice imperfect English on purpose. Speak even when you are not sure. Use simple sentences. Say what you can, not what you want to say perfectly. You can practice alone first. Talk about your day. Describe objects around you. Repeat short sentences. The goal is not to sound perfect. The goal is to speak. Another simple method is to allow yourself small mistakes. Tell yourself, "Today I will speak even if I make one mistake." This removes pressure. When pressure is gone, learning becomes easier and faster. Mistakes stop feeling like failure and start feeling normal. Remember this encouraging truth. Imperfect action is always better than perfect silence. Every sentence you speak, even a broken one, builds confidence. Every mistake teaches you something new. Do not wait for perfect English. Use the English you have today. Step by step, progress will come, and it will come faster than perfection ever could. Hidden enemy number 5. Self-doubt. Now let us talk about another very deep and quiet hidden enemy. Self-doubt. Self-doubt is the feeling that you are not good enough, even when you are trying your best. It is the voice inside your mind that questions your ability, your progress, and your value. This voice is not loud, but it is constant. Over time, it can slowly reduce your confidence and stop you from moving forward. Self-doubt often sounds very normal, almost reasonable. It says things like, "Am I good enough to speak? What if my English is too weak? Others are improving faster than me." These thoughts do not sound aggressive, but they are heavy. Because they feel honest, you accept them without question. But feelings are not facts. Just because you feel unsure does not mean you are incapable. This hidden enemy blocks speaking and learning in many ways. When you doubt yourself, you hesitate. You think too much before speaking. You wait for a better moment. Sometimes you stop trying completely. You may know the answer, but self-doubt tells you to stay silent. Over time, silence becomes a habit, and confidence becomes smaller. It is very important to understand the difference between facts and feelings. A fact is something real and clear, like, "I am learning English every day." A feeling is something emotional, like, "I feel slow," or "I feel weak." Self-doubt mixes feelings with facts. It tells you that because you feel unsure, you must be failing. This is not true. Many learners feel unsure while making real progress. Small actions are very powerful against self-doubt. Confidence does not come from thinking alone. It comes from doing. Speak in one sentence, listening for 5 minutes, or learning one new word may feel small, but each action sends a positive message to your brain. The message is, "I can do this." These small wins slowly rebuild trust in yourself. Trusting slow improvement is also important. Learning is not always visible. Some changes happen quietly inside your mind. One day, you understand more. Another day, you speak more easily. This does not happen suddenly. It happens step by step. When you trust the process, self-doubt loses strength. As you continue listening to Code Your English, remember this gentle reassurance. You are capable, even on days when you feel unsure. You do not need to be confident all the time. You only need to keep going. Self-belief grows through patience, action, and kindness toward yourself. And with time, your voice will become stronger and clearer. Hidden enemy number 6. Bad habits. Time waste, phone overuse, no routine. Now let us talk about another hidden enemy that affects many people every day. Bad habits. Bad habits are not loud or sudden. They grow slowly and quietly. A habit is simply something you do again and again, often without thinking. Habits shape your daily life. They decide how you spend your time, how you use your energy, and how you move toward your goals. This is why habits are so powerful, even when they seem small. Bad habits usually do not start as bad. They often begin as comfort or convenience. For example, checking your phone for a few minutes feels harmless. Watching short videos feels relaxing. Skipping practice for one day feels normal. But when these actions repeat every day, they become habits. Over time, they start to control your routine. You may not notice it at first, but slowly, these habits steal your time and focus. In English learning, bad habits appear in simple ways. You may plan to practice speaking, but instead, you scroll on your phone. You may want to listen to an English podcast, but you choose entertainment in your own language. You may study for a few days and then stop because there is no clear routine. None of these actions feel dangerous, but together, they slow your progress. Days pass, weeks pass, and learning feels stuck. One reason habits are so powerful is that the brain loves repetition. When you repeat an action, the brain learns that this action is normal. It becomes automatic. You do not need motivation anymore. This is why bad habits are hard to break. You are not making a choice each time. You are following a pattern. The brain chooses the easy path because it saves energy. The good news is that habits can be changed, and this change does not need to be hard or stressful. The best way to change a bad habit is to start very small. Do not try to change everything at once. For example, if you use your phone too much, do not say, "I will never use my phone." Instead, say, "I will practice English for 5 minutes before I touch my phone." This small rule is easy to follow, and it slowly changes your behavior. Another helpful method is to connect a new habit to an old one. If you drink tea or coffee every day, you can listen to English while drinking it. If you walk every morning, you can repeat simple English sentences during your walk. This way, English becomes part of your life, not a separate task. The brain accepts this more easily. Routine is very important for learning. A routine does not need to be long or perfect. It only needs to be regular. 10 minutes every day is better than 1 hour once a week. When you have a routine, you do not need to decide every day. The decision is already made. This saves energy and reduces laziness. As you continue listening, remember that discipline does not mean punishment. Discipline means choosing what helps you in the long term. Be gentle with yourself. Bad habits took time to form, and good habits also take time to grow. Focus on small, daily actions. Over time, these small habits will become strong allies instead of hidden enemies, and your English learning will feel more natural and steady. Hidden enemy number 7. Comparing yourself with others. Now let us talk about another hidden enemy that creates a lot of stress and self-doubt: comparing yourself with others. This habit is very common, and many people do it without realizing. Comparison often starts quietly. You look at someone else and think they are better, faster, or more confident than you. Slowly, this thought changes how you feel about yourself and your own progress. People compare themselves for many reasons. One reason is fear. When you are not sure about your own ability, you look at others to measure yourself. Another reason is the need for approval. You want to feel successful, so you check how others are doing. Comparison feels like a way to understand where you stand, but most of the time, it creates pressure instead of clarity. Social media makes this hidden enemy much stronger. On social media, people usually show their best moments, not their struggles. You see fluent speakers, confident learners, and fast success stories. You do not see the years of practice, the mistakes, or the fear behind the screen. When you compare your real life with someone else's best moments, you feel behind, even when you are making good progress. Comparison is unfair because every person's journey is different. People start from different places. They have different backgrounds, time, energy, and support. Some learners practice every day. Some can travel or speak English at work. Others are learning slowly with limited time. When you compare yourself with others, you forget your own situation. You judge yourself without kindness. This hidden enemy affects English learning deeply. When you think others are better, you lose confidence. You may stop speaking because you think your English is not good enough. You may stop practicing because you feel your effort is too small. Over time, comparison turns into self-doubt, and self-doubt slows growth. Instead of comparing yourself with others, focus on your own progress. Ask yourself simple questions. Are you better than last month? Do you understand more than before? Can you say a few more sentences with confidence? These small signs matter. Growth is not always fast or loud. Often, it is quiet and slow, but still real. A simple mindset shift can change everything. Instead of saying, "They are better than me," say, "They are ahead of me, and I am learning at my own pace." Instead of saying, "I will never reach that level," say, "If they learned, I can learn too." Turn comparison into inspiration, not pressure. Remember this important truth: your only real competition is your past self. Learning is not a race. It is a personal journey. When you respect your own path and move forward step by step, stress becomes smaller, confidence becomes stronger, and your English grows naturally and peacefully. How to identify your own hidden enemies. Now let us talk about something very important and very practical: how to identify your own hidden enemies. Understanding this step can change everything, because you cannot change what you do not see. Many people try to improve their life or their English, but they feel stuck because they are fighting the wrong problem. The real problem is often hidden inside their daily thoughts, habits, and reactions. The first step is self-observation. Self-observation means watching yourself without judging yourself. It means paying attention to what you think, what you feel, and what you do during the day. For example, notice what happens when you want to practice English. Do you feel excited, or do you feel tired or afraid? Do you open your book, Or do you open your phone? These small moments show you where your hidden enemies live. Self-observation is not about blaming yourself. It is about understanding yourself. Imagine you are watching a movie of your own life. You are not angry with the character. You are just curious. This calm and curious attitude helps you see clearly. When you observe without judgment, you learn faster and feel less stress. Another helpful tool is asking simple and honest questions to yourself. You do not need deep or complicated questions. Simple questions are powerful. For example, ask yourself, "Why did I avoid practicing today?" Or, "What stopped me from speaking?" Or, "What thought came into my mind at that moment?" Do not rush to answer. Let the answer come naturally. Many times, the real answer is fear, comfort, or negative self-talk. It is also important to notice patterns and reactions. One bad day does not mean much, but repeated behavior shows a pattern. For example, maybe every time you feel tired, you choose comfort over practice. Maybe every time you make a mistake, you become silent. These patterns show you which hidden enemy is active. Fear, laziness, comparison, or bad habits often appear in the same situations again and again. Writing your thoughts in a notebook can help you a lot. You do not need to write long pages. Just write a few sentences. For example, write what you planned to do, what you actually did, and how you felt. Writing makes your thoughts clear. Things that feel confusing in your mind become simple on paper. Over time, you will start to see your habits and thoughts more clearly. When you write, be honest, but do not be harsh. Honesty means telling the truth. Harshness means attacking yourself. You can write, "I avoided speaking because I was afraid," instead of "I am weak." This small change in language matters. Kind honesty helps growth. Harsh words create resistance and fear. Another important point is to notice how your body reacts. Fear often comes with tension. Comfort comes with relaxation. Negative self-talk comes with low energy. Your body gives you signals before your mind understands. When you learn to listen to these signals, you can catch your hidden enemies early. Remember, identifying hidden enemies is not a one-time activity. It is a daily practice. Some days you will notice them clearly. Some days you will forget. That is normal. The goal is progress, not perfection. Each time you notice a hidden enemy, you weaken it a little. As you continue with Code Your English, remind yourself of this gentle truth. Awareness is power. You do not need to fight yourself. You need to understand yourself. When you see your hidden enemies clearly, they lose their control, and you gain freedom. Freedom to learn, to speak, and to grow with calm and confidence. Simple daily practices to defeat hidden enemies. Now let us talk about something very practical and very important. Simple daily practices to defeat your hidden enemies. Understanding your hidden enemies is powerful, but action is what creates real change. The good news is that you do not need big actions or perfect routines. Small daily practices, done with consistency, are enough to slowly weaken fear, laziness, negative self-talk, and bad habits. Small daily actions work because they do not scare the mind. Big goals often create pressure, and pressure makes us stop. Small actions feel safe and possible. For example, speaking English for 2 or 5 minutes a day is much easier than planning 1 hour. When the action feels easy, you are more likely to do it every day. And when you do something every day, change becomes natural. Consistency is more important than intensity. Practicing a little every day is better than practicing a lot once a week. The brain learns through repetition. Each time you repeat an action, you make it stronger. Even on busy or tired days, doing something small keeps the habit alive. Consistency sends a message to your brain that this practice is part of your life, not something extra. One of the most effective daily practices is speaking English every day, even if you are alone. You do not need a partner. You can speak to yourself. You can describe what you are doing. You can repeat simple sentences. You can talk about your day or your plans. Speaking alone removes fear of judgment and helps you build confidence. Your brain becomes comfortable with the sound of your own English voice. Listening is another powerful practice, but it should be done without pressure. You do not need to understand every word. Choose simple podcasts or videos and listen calmly. Let your brain get used to the rhythm and sounds of English. Listening daily improves your understanding naturally. It also helps you speak better, because your brain learns patterns without effort. Another important practice is celebrating small progress. Many learners wait for big success before feeling proud. This is a mistake. Small progress deserves celebration. If you spoke one sentence today, that is progress. If you understood more than yesterday, that is progress. When you notice and appreciate small wins, motivation grows naturally. Patience and kindness toward yourself are also daily practices. Learning takes time. Some days will feel easy. Some days will feel difficult. This is normal. When you are kind to yourself, you continue. When you are harsh, you stop. Speak to yourself gently. Remind yourself that slow growth is still growth. Remember that defeating hidden enemies is not about force. It is about awareness, small actions, and consistency. Every small step you take weakens fear, reduces laziness, and builds confidence. Over time, these simple daily practices will change how you learn, how you speak, and how you feel about yourself. Gentle motivation and encouragement. Now let us take a calm moment together and talk gently about motivation and encouragement. This part is not about pushing yourself or forcing change. It is about understanding, patience, and kindness. Everyone who is trying to grow, learn, or improve has hidden enemies. You are not alone in this. Fear, doubt, laziness, and negative thoughts visit all human minds. They are part of the journey, not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is very important to remember this. Having hidden enemies does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. Strong people are not those who never struggle. Strong people are those who continue even when things feel difficult. Every learner you admire has faced fear, confusion, and doubt. They did not move forward because they were perfect. They moved forward because they kept going. Growth always takes time. We live in a world that wants fast results, but real change happens slowly. Learning a language is like growing a plant. You water it a little every day, and you wait. You do not pull the plant to make it grow faster. In the same way, you cannot rush confidence or fluency. When you respect the process, learning becomes peaceful instead of stressful. Mistakes are not failures. They are signs of learning. Every mistake shows that you are trying. When a child learns to walk, they fall many times. We do not judge the child. We encourage them. You deserve the same kindness. When you make a mistake in English, it means your brain is learning something new. Without mistakes, there is no growth. Some days you will feel motivated. Some days you will not. This is normal. Motivation is not always strong, but habits can carry you forward. Even on low-energy days, small actions matter. One sentence spoken, 1 minute listened, one thought changed. These are all wins. You do not need to do everything. You only need to do something. As you listen to Code Your English, allow yourself to move at your own pace. There is no race. There is no deadline. Your journey is yours. Be gentle with your mind. Speak to yourself with respect. Encourage yourself the way you would encourage a friend. You are learning more than English. You are learning patience, courage, and self-trust. These skills stay with you for life. Step by step, without pressure, you are becoming stronger, calmer, and more confident. And that is already a great achievement. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want to take a quiet moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening until the end. Your time, your attention, and your effort matter. By choosing to listen, you have already taken a step forward, not only in your English learning, but also in understanding yourself better. That is something to be proud of. I hope this episode helped you see your hidden enemies more clearly and more gently. Remember, the goal is not to fight yourself or judge yourself. The goal is awareness, patience, and small daily actions. If something you heard today touched you or made you think, that means learning is already happening inside you. I encourage you to practice English regularly, even in simple ways. You do not need long study hours. Speak a little every day. Listen a little every day. Use English in your daily life, even if you are alone. Every small practice builds confidence, and confidence grows with time. You can also listen to this episode again. Each time you listen, you may notice something new. Your understanding will grow, and the words will feel more familiar. Listening again is not repeating the same step. It is deepening it. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. You can write about which hidden enemy you noticed in yourself, or what part of the episode helped you the most. Writing your thoughts in English is also a great practice. Your words may help someone else feel less alone on their journey. As you continue learning with Code Your English, remember this calm and hopeful message. Growth is happening, even when it feels slow. You are moving forward, even on quiet days. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Step by step, you are building a stronger voice, clearer English, and deeper confidence. Thank you once again for being part of this learning space. Keep practicing, keep listening, keep believing in your progress. I look forward to learning and growing with you in the next episode.